Hey guys, when you think of vehicles that don't tow, there are certain ones that come to mind. You know, think of a smart car, of course trucks tow, but there is a very specific vehicle that, let's face it, has not been known to be a great towing vehicle. And yet, times are a-changing, because I'm here in Utah, just outside of St. George, to do a first tow on this. Yep, it's a Wrangler. Now, in the past, the Wrangler has been great off-road, but when you hooked up a 4,800-pound camper behind it, you're way over the Wrangler's towing ability, which was 3,500 pounds, but not anymore. This new Wrangler, when outfitted with this 3.6-liter Pentastar, will now tow 5,000 pounds, and that's because of something you can't see. Under here is a new Dana 44 floating axle that allows for 1,500 more pounds of towing.
Hey folks, today's video is brought to you by SalvageReseller.com. This website allows you to bid live on online salvage auto auctions without a dealer's license. You can register for free or use the 20% off coupon in the description below. Go find your salvage car gem now.
Obviously, I'm here on the first drive of the 2024 Wrangler, so Jeep has set this up. They have done weight distribution. I think Andre would be very proud of that. But, you know, before we get the Wrangler back to Colorado, let's see what it feels like to tow 4,800 pounds of Airstream behind what is essentially an off-roader. You know what? It doesn't squat all that much. I mean, a little bit of squat, as you can tell. And if you back up coal, you'll be able to show them the difference between the front and the rear. And there is this new, for 2024, factory installed Warren winch on the front, which will also add a little bit of weight to the front. So that might kind of balance it out. But for the most part, yeah, not a lot of squat. So let's get behind the wheel and see how this new Wrangler tows. All right, let's go with towing now. This 3.6-liter V6 puts out 285 horsepower and 260 pound-foot of torque, which is a lot of torque. It should be, I hate that, when the seatbelt is, you know, on its lowest position. And it should be, I guess, a good towing rig. Obviously, from a Jeep point of view, the problem is when you have a vehicle that's designed to be good off-road, it makes for a little trickier towing. And the reason for that, obviously, is you have this very supple suspension that then easily, when you've got a heavy weight behind you, gives you into a situation where it's basically the tail wagging the dog. And Jeep says that with this new Dana 44 floating rear axle, they were able to control the load much more so that you didn't get kind of that typical trailer sway, allowing them to increase the tow rating by 1,500 pounds. So in terms of power and in terms of torque, it should be fine. Of course, we are here just outside of St. George, and it's kind of flat, and the Jeep route is not taking us into any mountainous or hilly terrain. Basically, they want us to go around the reservoir here, so we're really not going to be able to stress this vehicle out. But I will get a good sense of how the Jeep controls the load, and see if I get into that situation where I feel like, you know, the load is wagging the Jeep instead of the Jeep controlling the load. Now, of course, I was going to say there's no brake controller, but gosh darn it, I was wrong. Check that out. There's a brake controller. And it looks like it's integrated from the factory. And that's good, because I believe over 3,000 pounds, or maybe it's even less than that, you really need a brake controller. And what that does is allow the load, of course, to brake as well. In this case, the Airstream, and that gives me a lot more confidence. I was wondering how they were going to do that. Yeah, I can feel it. It's working. All right. I am officially, call me officially impressed. A brake controller in a Wrangler. The world has just gone upside down for me, because I was not expecting that. And as I was filming this, and you know, we do these things kind of ad hoc, so the way it works is there are a lot of different journalists here, and they all want to tow, so it's not like, you know, we can say, hey, could we have the Wrangler and go up the mountain with it? We get it for a 20-minute loop, and we kind of got to figure it out along the way. And so not expecting the brake controller, very impressed by the fact that it has a brake controller. And honestly, I wish I could tell you if it comes with it, or if it's a dealer edition, or if it comes from the factory. If you guys know, let me know in the comments below. I can tell you that for 2024, there are significant improvements in the Wrangler. You're seeing one of them right there. Of course, it's the new kind of much bigger digital dash with, in this case, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also a little redesign of the dash here. So now instead of those round vents that you had before, because the screen was smaller, you've got these horizontal vents, which are pretty good. You still have the standard round vents in the corner. From the front, there's a new grille, and that grille is a little bit narrower because you can now get an integrated born winch from the factory, which is good for up to 8,000 pounds. And you would be saying to yourself, well, why don't I just get a winch-ready bumper and add it myself? And the reason it's better from the factory is because they crash tested, and so it complies with all their safety standards, which is great. The other cool thing about the 2024 Jeep, and this one doesn't have it, is you can get electrically powered seats with lumbar support. Yes, you may be thinking to yourself, what's wrong with this like towel bar over here that moves the seat back and forth? Why can't we just use that? And the reason is because if you're up a hill like this and you need to move the seat so you can see over the front of the Jeep, it's much nicer to have an electric control. There are also cameras, so look at that one. That gives you the rear view so you can see the load that you're towing, which is a nice thing to know, so you know kind of what the load is doing and where you stand. And some of them come with a front camera as well, so if you're off-roading, you have a good sense of what's in front of you, even though the cameras do tend to make things relatively flat. Also, if you look out the sides here, you'll note they got rid of the antenna. So now it's integrated into the windshield right there. So I'm gonna pull onto the road right here. I'm gonna floor it and just get a sense for how this pulls. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, floored. That Pentastar loves a scream. You know, it's not bad. The reason we floor them is we want to get a sense of how quickly and how safely you can get it onto an on-ramp at a highway, and that felt pretty good. This stretch of highway actually is relatively flat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over and we're going to put on our Solo DL and we're going to accelerate to 60 miles an hour and see just what kind of a 0 to 60 time this has. So let's do that. All right, so we've got our satellite tracker, 0 to 60 time. Now, of course, we do a lot of these towing, and anything under 10 seconds towing is really quick. That is very aggressive. I'm not sure we're going to beat that with the setup that we have here. You need a little bit more torque than, and let's face it, really, towing is about torque. People drive, there's a saying, people buy horsepower, but they drive torque. And that is certainly true when towing, because that's what gets you moving, right? Horsepower is all about top speed, and no one's towing at top speed. So it's really all about torque. And this Pentastar, surprisingly, is a really good tow rig. We have that stubby work truck that we use for a lot of our towing, and that only tows 5,000 pounds as well, but it does it surprisingly well. Okay, I'm just going to floor it. Now putting it in sport mode. Let's see how it does. Okay, floored, accelerating. There we go. We're 40. Come on, Pentastar, you can do it. You can do it. It's screaming. And 60. How do we do? 18.1. Yeah, exactly. That's about right. And I'm not sure what the elevation here is in St. George, but I guess it's probably right around a mile above sea level. I could be wrong. Once again, let me know in the comments below. But you know, it is a Jeep, and I am impressed at a tow. So good job, Jeep. You got it up to 5,000. But my gut has always been that if you really want to tow something, get yourself a pickup truck. So if I wanted to tow this trailer on a regular basis, I'd just go and get a Gladiator. Tows substantially more, does it with a plod, and just a better overall towing rig. And it does everything that the Wrangler will do for the most part, and then some. And you've got a pickup truck for towing. So yeah, it will tow. Is it happy towing? It's not unhappy, but a Gladiator is certainly probably the right tool for the right job. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Head on over to alltfl.com, where we have more videos from this first drive program, including taking the 392 off-road, and of course a complete walk around of all of the various models. And I know from the outside it doesn't look like this has changed very much, but it has. And head on over to AllTFL to get a sense for, I gotta go this way, to get a sense for what's new for 2024. And if you're wondering when this Jeep will be available, do not want to hit the curb. We're looking at the third quarter of this year. Pricing, depending on which one you get, starts at about, with destination and all that, maybe $32,000, $33,000, all the way up to about $90,000 for the 392. That's a 6.4 liter V8. And if you want to get the 4xe, the plug-in hybrid, which by the way now is 38% of all Wrangler sales, which is pretty crazy, that one starts at about $50K. See you guys next time. Ciao. And Andre, sorry, I didn't mean to take your first tow, but sometimes I get to have a little bit of the fun. See you next time. Ciao.